Well, hello, friends. Hey, it's Jamie here with Reece Homes. Hope you are enjoying an absolutely fabulous start to your December and are looking forward to great holidays with family and friends. I'm here with a December update where we're going to talk about the broader economy. We're going to talk about housing and mortgage. We're going to talk about big law changes coming January 1st, 2024 in real estate and real estate agency. And we're going to wish you happy holidays. So let's first dive into the broader economy. What I can tell you, what we've been feeling over the last 3 to 6 weeks is uncertainty about the economy easing and optimism that's growing. What we're finding, ironically, is that the economy is slowing but not receding or in recession, and that is helping ease uncertainty about what the Fed might do with interest rates in the future, and hopefully slowing the increase of rates and maybe even dropping them in the spring. And that's certainly influenced by the fact that inflation is steadily slowing. Now, its rate of slowing is becoming less, simply because we're getting much closer to target levels of inflation around 2%. Right now, it's a little over 3%. And that's absolutely great news, and that seems to be holding and continuing to drop. So again, that is helping optimism grow, and that is exactly what's happening with consumer confidence and business confidence right now, is we're seeing the inklings of growth. And what we expect next is what we expected last month, which is cautious optimism, where people are going to be watching data very closely and influenced by that, and especially by anything that the Federal Reserve and the Fed chairman might say. Okay, so how has that affected home prices? Home prices overall are steady. What we've seen here, we certainly saw a big peak back in 2022 at the last of the less than 5% interest rates. And as interest rates grew through much of the rest of 22, we saw more and more expensive houses challenged to sell, and we just saw the volume of the market go away. Now, keep in mind, this is median home price, so it doesn't necessarily mean that your home's value has gone down. It's mean that as interest rates have increased, it's become more challenging, especially at the higher levels, for people to purchase those homes, and so we've lost that volume. And with median being the 50th ranked sale out of 100 sales, right? When you see that top end go away, it shoves that median down a bit. Now, when you look at the seasonality, this is the last 5 years of home prices, and you can see that there's seasonality. More expensive homes tend to sell in the middle part of the year. What we're seeing here, if you look at the shapes of the curves, is the shape of this year's curve is very indicative of what we saw in 2018 and 2019, and even in 2020, before the market kind of went nuts in 2021 and 2022, right? So overall, this gives us confidence moving into next year, especially given the fact that we're looking at inventories being stable, right? We're seeing the seasonal decline in inventory that we see every year, even in the crazy years, right? Then we fully expect that this inventory will climb as we get into January and February, but keep in mind, historically, this entire chart is below 3 months of inventory, and 3 months is what would be considered a very strong seller's market in ordinary real estate economics. So the fact that at this point, we've got a month and a half to 2 months is pretty remarkable, though right now it does feel much more like a balanced market. And a lot of this is driven by interest rates. You can see that this time, last year, rates were, in September, October of last year, rates were peaking a little over 7%, and that definitely took some wind out of the market. But then you can look back at the other curves, and you can see that once we got into January, things took back off again, even though rates were, for the much of the year in the mid sixes, upper sixes, right? What took the wind out of our most recent market is this push between 7% and all the way up to almost 8%. And in fact, in reality, these are national numbers. In reality, locally, we saw rates that were in 8.25% to 8.5%. That definitely took some people out of the market. But this most recent 4 to 6 weeks of economic data and growing certainty and confidence in the market have dropped us down, and we're getting close to, like locally right now, we're getting close to 7% and under At the moment, I just saw 6.88% for local mortgage rates, so that's really great news. Okay, so now let's pivot from economic data to the major real estate agency law changes that are coming in January. January 1st of 2024. They have overhauled buyer agency laws and anything that touches it in terms of how it works with sellers and things like that. And the state has done this to continue to build on transparency and advocacy for buyers and education for them. Now, what does all of this mean? Is that buyer's agents, brokers, real estate brokers are going to be required to present and have signed a buyer's agency agreement from the earliest moments of service with a buyer. The benefit, of course, to buyers with that is that they're going to be educated as to the expectations that they should have from a buyer's agent and how buyer's agents are compensated through this process. I think that's incredibly important, and having that done very early on is also important. It also will educate the buyer as to who the broker is advocating for. If they're a listing broker showing a property and have, potentially a conflict of interest through dual agency, they need to disclose that right up front and have the buyer sign to acknowledge that before buyer starts giving them lots of information that might be used against the buyer, right? It's also important that these agreements will be either exclusive, that says that, hey, buyer signs with a particular broker, and that is the broker that they're going to work with to write a contract and purchase a property, period, within the given area of that agreement and the given time frame of that agreement. If it's exclusive, they're saying, I'm working with that broker, right, during that time period in that area. In a non-exclusive, right, they're saying, well, I can work with other brokers. However, whichever broker I work with to write a contract will be the one who is compensated. And we want to be really, really careful. These two different forms are important to understand as you go out there and are a buyer. Which version of a contract are you signing, and specifically what are you committing to? And the final thing that we think is really important for people to understand is that there is an absolute huge difference in our industry, whether representing buyers, sellers, investors, or just homeowners, between lawful service, the standards of the law or the ethics of the National Association of Realtors, and what we would consider full service. And I don't have enough time in a quick update to update you all of that. However, full service is very, very different in its level of aggressiveness of looking at homes, its level of preparation and market analysis and presentation of offers, and so many different things. So knowing that when you go into 2024, that you're going to need to sign an agency agreement in many cases just to see a home, right? You're definitely going to want to understand whether it's exclusive or non-exclusive and what level of service that broker is committing to. With this, the biggest risks that you have of a new law is exactly what I lined out before. All you want to do is you just want to go in and take a look at a property. You don't want to bother your broker, the broker that you've had a relationship with or will do the best job for you, because it's just, I just want to take a look. Right? Well, the challenge is with electronic signing of documents and things like that, whether it's a large agency that you work with, where it's just a showing agent that you can schedule online, or it's a broker who you're calling the sign on, right? If they send you something to review and you do anything that looks like a signature, you could be committing to a binding agreement, right? It's important that you read those carefully. Right? You read them for, are you agreeing to an exclusive relationship? Are you agreeing to a non-exclusive relationship? Are there any exclusivities about that non-exclusive relationship? Like, hey, you can work with any broker you want to, but if you buy this home that I'm showing you today, you're going to work with me. Right? That's what you're going to see a lot of in these non-exclusive relationships, is they are going to have an exclusivity clause in there that's specific to a property, a day, maybe a few days, something like that. And that's reasonably fair because you're asking that broker to do some work, and this agreement is how, one, they define for you what you can expect from them, but it's also how they define how they are going to be compensated for their good work. Now, It's really important. If you don't understand something, please don't sign it, right? There, what I fully expect to happen, just because our industry is this way, is despite the fact that the laws are pretty clear that these agreements need to get signed, what we are going to find is there's going to be a lot of brokers that if you push back, you won't have to sign that immediately, especially for the first or second showing. However, thereafter, any good broker is absolutely going to have you sign these things, right? So if you don't understand it, don't sign it. Give us a call. We can help you understand that, or give your trusted broker a call. They can help you understand exactly what you're signing. If the broker is asking you to sign something and they can't explain it in a way that you understand it, well, that's a big red flag. Finally, I would say anytime you want to go look at a property, especially after January 1st of 2024, please, please, please coordinate with your broker. I don't think I've ever heard a real estate broker say that they are bothered by a client who wants to see a property. Now, we might be out of town. Your broker might be working with another client at that particular time, right? A good broker is going to have backups for you, strategies to help you get into a property, whether it's partnerships, whether it's other members of a team like we have, or it's just making a phone call on your behalf to get you into a property and keep you on the good side of agency law and representation you want. That's what brokers should do. And even when they're out of town, they should have somebody watching the phones for them, which is exactly what we do here with our team. So I hope this gives you some insight. We're going to be talking lots more about this in upcoming events in January and upcoming updates in our newsletters and videos. So I encourage you to continue to watch those so that you can get the full protection that this new set of laws will provide for you and the full education without getting put behind, put into a tough spot where you're committed to working with a broker who may not be providing you the kind of service that you need and deserve. And with that, we wish you happy holidays. Just a few weeks away to Christmas and the time off that so many of us get during that time. Wish you absolutely wonderful holidays with family and friends. Thank you for watching this update. Thank you for watching throughout the year and for all of the support that you've given us and our team members over the years. Look forward to talking with you throughout the season and definitely into next year, which we think is going to be a great one. Thank you and happy holidays.